Okay, so your question is, why do I think the Big Bang is true, but I don't think God exists, or something like that?
Yeah, well, how can you take it as objectively true and not God?
Because I don't see any evidence of God. I don't even
Well,
know what
wouldn't the
evidence of a
evidence?
God would look like. Nobody does.
Well, they've been stated a lot that, for example, like it doesn't have to be scientifically true or scientific evidence for there to be evidence. Like C.S. Lewis's and
Yeah, the fiction
it's like
author.
philosophy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like more for us to have morals or for us to be morally would be some, and then I would say as existence in whole, like all of our people here would be evidence. Like I don't feel like a Big Bang would do that. And then there's like just so many things where in the world where scientifically it just doesn't make sense. Like um like when Jaron Duran, do you know who he is?
Jarrett? No.
He's a baseball player and he was like at a time he was really depressed, and he was just and he tried to kill himself a couple times, and every time the gun didn't go off, and he is still with us now.
That's
And
an incredibly made up story.
you can look. There was a like. There's so many. You're just gonna assume that because something that shouldn't happen happens that it's untrue.
Kind of, yeah. Whenever people bring up these kinds of stories, especially like the medical miracles, they just sound to be, or they end up being based in absolute nothing.
Well, I mean, there's stories of that all over. Or like, there's the story of the guy that survived 2 atomic bombs. I mean, there's just so many throughout history of stuff when people survive when they shouldn't have.
You said he tried to do this multiple times. I looked it up and it said it happened once.
Oh, well, to my understanding. But, I mean, there's stories of people that try to kill themselves so many times and they survive when they shouldn't have. Or when people get into accidents and they shouldn't have.
Okay,
Or,
so explain to me how that's evidence of God.
well, I wouldn't say like, I would say it's evidence of something greater, Like, well, like, you're laughing, but like, what would you say is the divine evidence for there to be an objectively true, like, Big Bang? Like, why do you think that's objectively true?
Because we live in the universe, and that's a description of the universe we live in.
Okay, so what made, like, the black matter or whatever? I'm not that read
I
up on
don't
the Big
know.
Bang. Yeah, exactly. There's something that came before that. Like, what came before everything that else that happened?
Yeah, what about what came before the thing that came before everything?
What?
If
Like,
something
what?
came before everything, then what came before that thing?
I would say it would be God. Like,
You know,
a
that's
divine
actually a
creator.
really good argument, because if it's going to come first, it definitely has to be a man, and God's pronouns are he, him. So
Well,
I
God
will give
doesn't
it to you
have to
there.
be a man.
Scientifically, that does actually make a lot of sense.
Well, God doesn't
So,
have to be a man. We see him as our father and like looks after us.
yeah.
But we why does it have to be anything in particular? When God was like there has to be something that came first. So why can it be said God?
Buddy, you're just pointing to things that you don't know or nobody knows and saying therefore God. It's not really very convincing or compelling. And I mean, earlier you one of the earliest statements you made was, "Oh, we have morals. How did the Big Bang do that?" Like, I agree that the Big
I didn't
Bang
mean it
doesn't
like
really
that.
create morals. I guess I would agree with you, but that doesn't mean that God did it, or they come from God, or that there can't be some other like naturalistic explanation.
So like I had like some points I had like written in my notes, and I just that's why it was like so laggy for the first 30 seconds. So because I was trying to look at those, and I just kind of like messed it up with like the moral thing because I didn't really. I was like googling stuff while you were debating that last guy, trying to get some good points.
Yeah, that
And that
guy's
way.
fucking insane.
Yeah. But, I was just, but the way I see it, like, I would say, the evidence is just like the crazy stuff that like isn't scientifically possible. Or like when,
Okay, like what isn't scientifically possible?
well, everything that's like so scientifically unlikely. Like
Such
the other
as?
the other day I was watching TikTok and I saw like how the news have like their TikToks and they like to post stuff.
Yep.
I saw one where there was this mother that was about to get hit by a car and she had her baby in a stroller.
I knew it was gonna be a baby not getting. I just knew it. Okay, so a baby that was by all accounts should have been killed wasn't killed, right?
Well, no, the mother was walking her by and there was a kid driving it and he was driving on the road and he advertently aims for the mom and the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mother, who, look, just a regular mom, not strong or anything, was able to lift the stroller fully over the car and keep it from getting hit. And then, like afterwards, all the people came over and tried to help her, or like tried to see if she could do it, and she couldn't. It's like
Mm-hmm.
where
So,
she isn't strong enough to do that regularly, but got the strength to do it from that.
right. So this is just, um, so if our evidence of God is that God is the kind of thing that would intervene when a baby is about to die.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how many babies die every year?
Well,
Millions?
Did you say billions or millions?
Millions.
Okay, yeah. I was like,
I don't
well,
know about millions. How many total people die every year?
well, in the Bible, Adam and Eve, we were supposed to have happiness and everything perfect, and life on earth was heaven or whatever.
A lot of people die every year.
Well, how many is it?
Around 60 million.
Oh, dang. But
How many of them are under the age of 2? It's actually going to be a lot because infant mortality is really pretty high. So this is estimating around around 4 million children under the age of 2 is what I said. So
yeah.
if stories about children that should have died didn't die are evidence of God, then what the hell are 4 million babies dying every year? It doesn't make any sense. And
In the Bible,
what makes even less sense is like we've taken childhood mortality and dropped it by using science, especially medicine, to just orders of magnitude lower. And it's like, but wait a minute, if God doesn't exist, or if God exists, why would we be the ones capable of saving orders of magnitude more children? That doesn't really make any sense.
well, in the Bible, like Adam and Eve, everything on life was supposed to be perfect for us. There wasn't going to be sin and all that. You know the story. Like there was.
I've heard it, yeah.
And then they do the one thing that they weren't allowed to do, and they took I think it was an apple from the one tree they weren't supposed to eat from.
It wasn't an apple, but
okay. Well, I said I thought it was.
A lot of people think that, but
it's been a while, but
really.
But yeah. So then we have sin, and the world isn't perfect anymore because of man not being perfect. And now those two.
But that story is just, it's so bad.
Why?
Okay. When when God made Adam, did he give him cock and balls? I'm happy to announce that I can now offer signed copies of both of my books. This is because I've reopened my merch store where you can get your very own Spanky, t-shirt, and more. If you don't know, Rational Answers to Stupid Questions is a collection of responses to about 100 of the most common anti-scientific tropes. The book is meticulously detailed, it's been fact-checked by real scientists, and it's written in a clear and easy to understand way. Evolution, the Big Bang, creationism, flat Earth, all of that plus more is in there. Facts That Aren't True is a collection of over 150 commonly held beliefs that are not true. Each claim has a story behind it. You'll learn the history behind the claim, the science that disproves it, or partially supports it in some cases, and lots of side stories and tangents. Categories include the human body, history, religion, animals, nature, language, and a hodgepodge of miscellaneous facts that aren't true. So if you want to be equipped to handle the misinformation that you see me tackling here every day, get a copy of one or both of those books for yourself. Thank you.
I assume so, yeah.
Okay. God makes Adam first, and then Adam needs a helper. So he creates all the animals, they don't work, so eventually he creates Eve, right? Why do we have cock and balls?
To produce children from sex.
Right. But there was no Eve. So why the hell did Adam have cock and balls?
So that he was, well, didn't you just say he was trying with all the animals?
Well, that is the way some people interpret the story. But no, the deal is God in his perfect omniscience and whatever creates Adam with cock and balls for absolutely no reason, because Eve doesn't even exist yet.
I mean, maybe you could say, all right, well, you say it like that. Well, I would keep going. I'm going to get back to the point I was trying to make earlier.
Okay.
So after that, now that there's sin everywhere, when those children die, obviously it's horrible and, like no one wants that to happen and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But now they get to go up to heaven where everything is perfect and they get to live happy lives. And then the parents have to struggle.
Yeah, so here's the other thing I was going to bring up with this. Even if God is miraculously saving these children, he's doing it in such an incredibly irresponsible way. Have you ever had a near-death experience?
Yes.
Okay. Was it traumatic?
I'd say so.
Okay. Do you think that you're well adjusted to it now? Like you can live a pretty okay life now, even though that happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And cool. I've had them too. I fell asleep at the wheel when I was like 16, drove into a ditch. I didn't almost die. I didn't end up in the hospital, but there were a lot of things that could have happened that would have killed me that didn't. And so I got kind of lucky in that respect. But anyways, but plenty of people go through those types of events, and your fucking baby almost getting run over would be one of them. And it actually causes them a tremendous amount of, they have a lot of psychological trouble for the rest of their lives because of that. Why the fuck would God do it that way? It makes absolutely no sense. There's actually this really, really funny video on YouTube, very old video by some OG atheist guy's name is Non-Stamp Collector, right? And so what's happening is, and it illustrates this point really well. So what's happening is there's an airplane and it's flying in the sky, right? Nothing's going wrong. It's just flying in the sky. Then all of a sudden, God and his angels are in every episode. Then all of a sudden God goes, "Oh, did you see what I just did there?" And the angels are like, "No." And God says, "Well, that plane, there was some sort of, I don't remember what he says specifically. There's a wiring issue or a hydraulic issue, whatever. And it was about to fail and that plane was about to crash. but I stopped it. And the angels are like, oh, that's very good of you to do, Lord. And then God says, wait a minute. Nobody's thanking me for what I just did, because they have no idea that he just saved them, because he just prevented the terrible thing from happening in the first place. And then that pisses God off. So then what he does is he lets the next plane crash, but miraculously one baby survives the plane crash. And everybody says, oh, thank God for saving this one baby, because it was something to actually point to. I think that makes the point actually very well. And then this is also echoed in one of the all-time greatest episodes of Futurama, where Bender meets what might be God. It's like this nebula in the sky. And what might be God says, when you've done things right, people won't know you've done anything at all, or something to that effect. So.
Yeah. Well, I would counteract that and say, with the world full of sin and all that, if God stepped in and changed everything and made everything perfect, we would still just be living on heaven, like back when Adam and Eve, like earth would be heaven and all that. So why would he intervene the whole time and make us perfect when we were punished for earlier and had that taken away, and for the afterlife, it being heaven? Instead, he'll step in like interveningly and save and do some real hope. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's pretty bad, because do you consider yourself like an evangelical type? Are you interested in spreading the gospel?
I mean, I don't really go around telling people. I don't think they need to be Christian or anything. I'm just Christian.
Do you think that people that aren't Christians go to hell?
The way my church always taught me was, if you're a good person, you'll go to heaven.
Okay, good. I'm glad, because there are Christians that do not believe that. So what I would have said is, but I still think it's a good point. People like you, people of faith, they go around and you're not an evangelist type necessarily, but the ones that do that, they do that because they think it's important, because they're trying to help save people, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like, if there is an actual hell and if there is an actual heaven, then there really is no other responsible thing you could do other than that. But what's really weird is God doesn't do that. He doesn't even try. People just end up going to hell, and God was like, well, should have read the book. Get fucking wrecked, nerd. Burn in hell for all eternity for all I care. People care, and God is just indifferent. It's just straight. And again, this isn't the flavor of Christianity you happen to believe in, so don't take it as like a criticism against you, I guess. Exciting news, I will be at DebateCon in Nashville this November. If you're in the area, click the link in the description to get your tickets. There will be meet and greets, VIP events. I'll have copies of both my books. I'll try to bring some Spankies with me, and you get to see what I do in person. Once again, link to the event with schedule, tickets, venue, all that information is in the description, so please check that out, and I'll see you soon.
For it, and if I say to anybody that's Bible bashing or anything was a fucking idiot. But a couple of years ago, someone said a prayer for me, right? Weirdest thing. Very next day, I met my wife. A couple of days later, I won £4,000 playing a roulette game, right? I put this down to chance, right? And with my friends, we would have an ongoing joke, like, get that guy to pray for me next, like my friends would all be saying, because like my luck had just changed overnight. It was just weird how it happened. So it was an ongoing joke for a few months, and fast forward a few months later, I get up in the morning, I go to go for a shower, and I can't move my arm. I'm having a stroke, and my arm's just paralysed. And I went into my bathroom. I went from my bathroom into my living room, and I grabbed my phone and I sat on the sofa, and I was just about to call an ambulance, and I remembered the guy praying for me, and I just thought, what's the harm? And I just looked up at the ceiling, and I'm Scottish. I don't kneel for nobody. I don't bow to nobody, and I'm not begging nobody. And all I said to this guy was, if you do exist, you are a right cruel cunt, and I hope I see you at some point. Almost immediately, my arm started working perfectly, and it was like nothing happened. And it was like my arm was paralysed for a whole 10 minutes, and I'm about to phone an ambulance. And I swear to God, that is what I said. I said that, see, if you do exist, you're a right cruel cunt. And it was like something let go of my arm immediately, and I was like, what the fuck was that about? I can go back a wee bit before the 10 years, before 9 years before the stroke. I had a heart attack. Right, now I don't get acid reflux. Now in my country we call acid reflux heartburn. So I had a heart attack, and I took that heart attack for 4 hours because I thought I had heartburn. I was like, oh, my chest is burning. And I didn't know I was having a heart attack. And it was like 4 hours I was taking this heart attack for, and I was with my friend. And my friend says, like, you need to go to hospital. And I was like, you're no kidding. And he's like, what does it feel like? And the only way I could describe it to him was I said, I feel like I'm in 2 different places at the same time. And if I don't get to a hospital, I'm not going to be in this place anymore. I was like, that's the only way I can describe how I'm feeling right now. So there's 2 things to stump you. But 2 years ago, I would have told absolutely anybody. Like, I love science, I love fact, I love information, but I don't have a fucking explanation for this. And I've went into a lot of religious lives and tried to learn more about religion to see what it is. Because, like, for me, the Bible, the characters in the Bible are related to the sky at night. Like, Jesus is the sun. He's the actual fucking sun. Virgin Mary's the constellation. So, like, these books were written by intelligent people, and somewhere along the lines they've used them as a method of control. And I just think that they have relation to the sky at night. And what worries me is I've been going into a lot of Muslim lives and learning about the Quran. And one of their major signs for the end of times is the sun rising from the west. And I'm like, well, if I relate that to what I know about science, then that tells me, because we can't detect it, that we're in a binary star system and we have a brown dwarf that comes around every few 100,000 years and destroys everything, causes a mass extinction event, and then just fucks off again. And our ancestors have wrote down these storybooks to warn us and tell us about these things that can happen in the future. And we've misused and misread the interpretations that we should have, because we should be relating it to the sky at night and worrying about what's going to happen in the future by natural events happening, what would normally happen in the universe. But I think that's what these books are. So I wouldn't say that there is no creator, but I also wouldn't believe in any religion that's been created by man. It's all man's interpretation of what spirituality should be.
Do you think that Muhammad is a cunt?
Well, probably yes.
All right. That makes me happy.
I don't want to say too much because somebody might jack my door.
Loch Ness Monster real?
Like, I have Muslim friends, and like, they're not bad Muslims. They're not trying to be crazy or anything. They're decent people. They're kind. They live by the peaceful version of Islam.
Right. Do you think the Loch Ness Monster exists?
No.
Ah.
I would like that to be true. I would like that to be true. But I know too many people that go fishing. Like, I'm pretty sure if someone was out in a loch all night, we would see it. Like, it's supposed to be like a dinosaur, so someone would have seen it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say, I don't think.
Yeah, when I tell people that story, it just stumps them all, because I do believe in science, and I've got no explanation for that. Like, I don't have an explanation. Just, it was the craziest thing that I've ever experienced in my whole entire life.
That is pretty wild. I will agree.